YouTube, welcome to the top 8 grand finale and top deck list by watching as long as you can. That greatly supports these videos, even if we're on in the background while you're doing laundry or working out. And with that said, we have the new ban list where Tenpai has been gutted. And I believe we could see that through the results. A lot of people have either dropped Tenpai or were not able to make it to the top cut due to the Chandra being limited to 1. I'm also seeing a lot of random people play DD Crow on their deck, which maybe was gatekeeping Tenpai out of the top cut. As you banish that single copy of Chandra, that's a big deal. And then DD Crow already was pretty good against Tenpai, just being used against the Biden Dragon. Now, with that all out of the way, are you ready for the top 8? Ritual Beast versus Chimera? Hajime.
There can only be one winner, and you're looking at it. Let's go.
Chimera Fusion, hard activated within the main phase as we make our Phantom Beast. This states that while it has a material, your opponent cannot target it with monster effects. No Veiler, but Imperm is fine. When your opponent activates a card or effect, you're going to detach 2 materials to negate the effect. You're not going to destroy it. You do have to target the face-up card that you are negating. So if they were to activate Ash Blossom, can you negate that? You cannot. Now, let's keep on going. It's also worth noting, when can you not summon a Lars here? There are moments where you have to pay attention to. And that would be if you Baphomet. Baphomet states that if this card is summoned, you cannot special summon from the extra deck for the rest of the turn except fusion monsters. So as long as you avoid summoning the Baphomet, which is a very powerful effect, it searches for 2 cards. You do want to activate this. You could make big plays like Lars or even a Beatrice before then. Kotal's going to be sent to the grave to search for the Sword Knight. Sword Knight is going to be attributing itself to summon from the deck. The Baphomet, which locks you into fusions. Perform your non-fusion first, and then summon the Baphomet from that double search. It's a small detail, you definitely have to pay attention to it. As we now make the Baphomet. Baphomet of the Mythical King, Beast, Monster, all that madness, whatever it's in its name, it's going to send from the deck a monster, as the Baphomet will also engrave Reborn an illusion, reborning our Sword Knight. And with that, we send a Diabels from the deck to the grave. Why would we do that? We also randomly discarded Nibiru. Now, the Sword Knight and the Kotal have the effect while they're on the field or in the graveyard and you control a Mythical King. What's going to happen is you're going to be able to negate a monster effect to activate on the field or an effect that targets one of your monsters. That is going to be essentially a double disruption. And we have engraved the Diabels wanting to be summoned. How do we summon her? Well, if we read this, the Chimera Baphomet, during your opponent's turn, you can banish this card to target one of your banished monsters to then summon it. That would be a way to summon it if she were banished. Another play would be, I was looking for this, the Chimera. During your opponent's turn, after we negate something, we're going to banish this card to then reborn our Diabels. So let's talk about our disruption here. The Lars will negate anything, the Sword Knight will negate a monster activating, the Kotal will negate a targeting effect, but it's so conditional, I'm not going to count it as a disruption. We have the Chimera Fusion, which could turn into a form of disruption. We could reborn the Diabels of the Chimera, which is going to be a disruption because when they set a card, you then get to destroy a card in the field, and spell and trap cards must be set before they could even be activated. So about 4 disruptions with a 5th conditional. We're going to summon a Gazelle. Let's Laura to additional summon the Cannahawk. We're going to use the Sword Knight to negate, saving our Lars negate. We don't even have to negate it. Negate. Now down to triple disruption left. We're going to be banishing from the field and graveyard to summon the Nochi, triggering the Nochi to summon from the deck a Winda. That's going to make us want to use our Chimera Fusion. Chimera Fusion into a Baphomet. That was not a form of disruption, so we're going to take off of that. So we have the Lars and the Diabels play, but I think we're actually going to send something from the deck which may be disruptive. We'll see. The Master Tau is instead going to reborn the Diabels. There you go. Now with the Diabels, we have to hope that they want to set a card. They are not setting a card, and this is a big problem. With the Tamer Winda being destroyed by battle activated in the grave, Lars, of course, cannot negate and destroy that. It can only target a card in the field to negate, and it has to not be in the damage step. This will summon a Link 4 from the extra deck. That Link 4 is going to be the Ulti Ray. Ulti Ray is big enough to simply take out the Lars. And now that Lars negate is gone, we just have Diabels as a form of disruption, which looks like it's not going to even activate because I have no spell and trap cards even set to trigger her effect. We're going to banish from the deck a Tamer Laura. We're going to make the Ulti Hawk. So I would say we pretty much have 0 disruption. Nothing. What could we even do? We can Chimera reborn a monster from the grave. We can Baphomet reborn a banished monster. But how does that turn into anything meaningful? As we grab a Wen from the deck, Canahawk banishing from the deck a Rapangu. We're going to Wen, reborn back that Rapangu. Rapangu send from the deck connection next to the grave. We get an Apelio in grave as we now make Banshee. This is a huge problem. The Banshee will search for the Nemesis flag, the flag will search for the Protoss, and the Protoss will completely end this duel. Depending on what we declare, is it best to declare light? If we declare light, then all light monsters will not be special summonable for 2 turns. We're going to force out the early activation of the Baphomet, resummoning the Banished Sword Knight back onto the field here before committing to our Protoss. Now banishing from the graveyard the Banshee to reborn itself back in the field to now make an access code talker. This is all in main phase 2, by the way. With the access code talker, we're going to get boosted, declare light. Light monsters are now illegal. No light can be special summoned, including our own Nibiru. Nibiru is dead. We're going to use the Chimera to summon a non-light monster from the grave. Nightmare Apprentice, come to us, Kotal. Now, what I would like to do is I would like to check out what did we just turn off from doing. So we're going to be typing in the Chimera deck type, and we're going to type in light monsters that are used in the Chimera deck type. These are all the cards that are played that cannot be special summoned. Can't special summon Sword Knight, that's not a big deal. Can't special summon Diabels, maybe we didn't care. Can't summon Magnum, we would summon a Chimera Beast instead. Can't summon Beatrice. I would say that the Protoss didn't really make that much of an impact of what we can't summon, right? This is not that big of a deal. What would have been better? I don't know. You declare Dark? If we would have declared Dark, can't summon Guardian Chimera, can't summon their main finisher, this maybe would have been better to declare. Let's see what happens from here. We have the Chimera Fusion, add back from Engrave. Access Code Talker, though. But why did we need this? Why? Who cares about Access Code Talker? We didn't even have to summon this. Ash Blossom, negate the Kotal from searching our deck. Well, now, he didn't want to kill his access code? Yeah, but again, who cares about access code? It's not doing anything. We're going to be searching for a Sword Knight as we now Apprentice turn it into a Typhon. Typhon was another card on that list of dark monsters that they play that we would have stopped from being summoned, but it looks like it wasn't that big of a deal. Calling Light was fine. Calling Dark also would have been fine. Either or, it was all fine. And the super protective access code talker just killed itself just to pop a card in the field. We have the Ulti Ray adding back the Wen to then perform an additional summon. Come back onto the field, our Laura. Let's turn it into an Ulti Hawk. Let's speed this up. Holy moly. We have something engraved, right, that could do plays. We could Baphomet, reborn a banished monster. I think Chimera, if we reborn, could then reborn another monster from the grave. So this is not done unless we would declare Wind. We declare Wind, we pop it, it could then reborn another monster from the grave. So even declaring Wind is not going to be the play. We still have the ability to reborn within the battle phase. There's too many different attributes to play around all of them. Kimu's going to jump off the field. This is not a form of disruption. This is just pretty much nothing. Let's see what happens here. Off of that, we're summoning the Apelio, making the Master Tau. This card cannot be destroyed by battle. What do? We go to main phase 2. Chimera completely ended their battle phase. Very well done. We got Steeds for non-target monster popping. Here's what my fear is. I fear that Ritual Beast is going to time out. Is that the case? Is Bun playing well enough and fast enough to not time out? Because their plays have been a lot more complex than Chimera's at the moment. Let's see what we have here. Sword Knight is going to be negated by the Baguska, and we scooping it up. That wasn't a timeout, right? That was just a scoop. Good old scoop. Yup, we scooping. Good job from both players. Great match, great duel. Let's hop into game 2. Patchwork, grabbing a Polymerization plus our Edge Imp Chain here into a Droll and Lockbird. No more adding from the deck for you. The Nightmare Apprentice is useless. As we're going to polymerize into our Baphomet, we may not be able to add from the deck, but we could send from the deck to the grave. The Master Tau, when sent, will reborn our Sword Knight. Sword Knight could, during the opponent's turn, when we're no longer under Droll, summon a monster that would be adding cards to our hand. That's exactly what we're doing. We're going into the Baphomet to search for a Chimera Fusion plus the Gazelle. We can at least trigger the Gazelle to search for another illusion through the effect of the Chimera Fusion. So we're going to use the Sword Knight to negate the activation, negate the effect of the Cannahawk, but not destroy because we control the Baphomet Mythical King. We also have another disruption with the Chimera Fusion, which could pop 1 to 2 cards on the field non-targeting. Do we have Codal? We do not have Codal. We also have the power of Max C. Will we Max C in response to the emergency teleport? I believe so. Yes, indeed, of course. Max C does keep Ritual Beast in check. Big time. They don't really have a good simplified play under Max C either. We are going to perfectly, we see it. 2 bodies on the field, pop 2 of them, draw 1. This could get Ash Blossom, so ideally you are chain link blocking it through an effect like the Baphomet. That works out perfectly. We're going to be reborning from the graveyard a monster as the Gazelle also searches for an illusion to likely finish up this duel on the very next turn. There's Master Tau. Say goodbye to the field. If we had a Laura in the graveyard, it could have protected our field from being destroyed. So the problem was that we held on to the Laura instead of using it early. The thing, you know, there's reasons to hold it because maybe you want your opponent to think that your Cannahawk is your only play. The thing is, I think a situation with holding on a Tamer Laura, usually when you're playing Ritual Beast, you're outplaying yourself more than your opponent. Most people are not going to play differently based off of you activating the Tamer Laura. I think they still would have negated the Cannahawk. Let's say you wanted them to do that, and then you follow up with more plays. In the end, it probably would have just been better to shotgun the Laura, play around the Guardian Chimera, and then we would have had a much better chance. I'm not trying to coach you or say that you misplayed. It's just what I think maybe would have been better. Let's hop into game number 3. Now, Shield Bearer is essentially a 4th copy of Rapangu. Dark monsters cannot be special summoned. The Steeds will be able to destroy 1, 2, 3, up to 4 cards on the field that are monsters. And the Ulti Gaia will be able to negate any card or effect, it does not matter. We also have the effect of the Ash Blossom to negate an interaction with the deck. We also have Ulti Ray with the ability to banish any card in the field. I believe I did not mention that. It's about 4 disruption plus a Floodgate. And what do we do with Super Poly? We generally would summon the Garua's Dark. We can't do that, but the Mood Dragon would still work. Same attribute, but different types. Well, we have same attribute, but different types. Wind, Psychic, Thunder. We could still Super Poly into a Mood Dragon. Okay. Psychic, this is a light, so it's not going to be fusible unless we have another light monster ourselves. Let's see what we could do. I'm excited. We are going right away into Winda plus Wen. Bro, did you just get outplayed? Did Bun just predict Super Poly and say, now you can't do it? I think that's exactly what he did. We had a Mood Dragon play, but now we don't because of him tagging out. And Bun purposely did that. Wow. He saw his hand. Okay. Palm, that's suspicious. Come forth, Chimera. Chimera is here. We are, now we could do it. Chimera will be the fusion instead. Edge Imp Chain. We are going to be searching our deck. Well, I mean, if we look at the analytics, Super Poly is widely played in the deck, I believe. It's like 100%, right? 57, it's 100%. Well, based off the analytics we have here, 100% are playing Super Poly, whether it's 1, 2, or 3. Codal, negated from searching. As we now make the Mythical Claws, we're going to activate the Ritual Beast Steeds. We're going to Super Poly, fuse with our Chimera and your field from here. As we can't summon Dark Monsters, we could still summon the Moo Dragon. So while you tagged out with the Ulti Cannahawk, that did stop us, but then we summoned another monster. You do get to Steeds, non-target pop our field though, and now we are kind of screwed, yes? Randomly discarding a card from the hand does turn off the ability for Ulti Gaia to be able to negate anything, and turned off the use of the Ritual Beast Inheritance. We're going to call by the Grave Finger the Engrave Gazelle that you're trying to summon through the effect of your King of the Phantom Beasts. It is not going to happen, and now your Chimera Fusion is super dead. How are we going to fuse? We're going to have to Super Poly. We can't. Damn. We made some good plays around the Protoss, but the Protoss was too much. And, you know, that's the thing. I'm not going to complain about Protoss. It's just, I think Ritual Beast is such a good deck even without Protoss. So it is sad that we are resorting to Protoss to make the deck even better, an already good deck. There have been players topping Duelist Cups, top 10 of the rating duels every month, even without playing Protoss. It's not Bun's fault. It's, I would say, Konami's. Let's go. Barrier of the Voiceless, searching for Saphira. We could speed this up. You have double Impermanence, double Monster Negate, but if we set up a Barrier of the Voiceless with a Skull Guardian plus a low, all of our light monsters are completely untargetable, but it will be difficult to set that up under the Impermanences stopping you from even getting that to that point. So that is going to be definitely effective here, as we also have the Skull Guardian to negate anything. We have the Radiance, which will destroy up to 1 to 2 cards here. And we have the Sarvis, which will be able to negate an inherent summon. That's about 5 disruptions I am counting. And let's go. Auto E is got to be the first thing you do at the start of your main phase. You got low off the top of the deck, Imperm, negate. Now, where's my Trias? Where's my Sarvis? Ain't no way. We had nothing to negate the Impermanence. This is crazy. Fine, we are searching and setting up a barrier anyway, likely. That's at least what you thought you were negating. We have it in our hand. As we activate the effect of the barrier, not the activation do we respond to it, because there would be another barrier. We're gonna use the Radiance to destroy, stopping the effect to search. I have another barrier, but I already activated the hard once per turn effect. We have an Nadir Servant sending an Entis to grab a Maximus, triggering the Entis to pop a card in the field. We can't target the monsters, but now we can, as we took out the barrier. We're going to banish the Entis to summon the Maximus. This is going kind of well for being at a massive disadvantage here. Imperm, negate the Maximus. And here in this lies what I believe is creating a major imbalance between going first and second. Why do we play Impermanence? Mostly because it's required to have a chance if you want to go second. You're going to have to either Imperm on your turn to try to break their field a little bit, or Imperm on their first turn to stop them from building up their field. The problem lies in the necessary turn 2 card now further boosting up turn 1 when turn 1 is already inherently at a big advantage. For free, we had 2 extra negates. That is really unfair. What the hell? And now we're stopped. We're done. It's like you already had a good field. You didn't need those Impermanences to further imbalance your great turn 1 field. And then the question is, how do we balance that? We have to have the Mulcharmy way of balancing, I think, is the only way. We need powerful effects that are only activatable while you control no cards, aka they're only good if you're going second. I'd be all for making a more powerful Impermanence, but then either it's so powerful we're no longer playing Impermanence and it's only usable going second, or we just make the more powerful Impermanence that's only usable going second, then we ban Impermanence. And then we do something like that with Ash. Ash and Imperm are probably the 2 cards that need to be power crept and then banned, but then only usable when going second. Something like that, because this is too much. 1 card combo gets stopped. There you go, but thankfully we have another card to stop it. And come forth, there you go. Valor and Imperm stopped by the Trias or the Sarvis. We could have Sarvis, then they would have followed up with the Valor, then we would have followed up with the Trias. Now Diviner will come forth and summon for the deck, which the Sarvis, which will now negate the Valor. Nicely done. I don't think the problem is 1 card combos. I think 1 card combos with a low power ceiling is good. I think that's good for interaction, especially with the hand trap situation. It's one card combos that lead to Snake Eye, Yubel, 10 negates. I think that's the problem. No one, I have not heard or seen of anyone complaining about a one card combo in Voiceless. Is that really that big of a deal? A turn 1 low, a turn 1 diviner, one card diviner? It's not that big of a deal. And then we have Ash negating the barrier mate. Negate. Now let's come forth and turn this into a Little Knight. Let's think about this. Let's think about, what did I just say? If we don't have multiple one card combos, we lose to one hand trap. Well, DK, this was 3 hand traps. That's not true. Trias countered Imperm, so that it completely nullified. Sarvis countered Imperm, completely nullified. So what we had was 1 Ash stopping the 1 Diviner combo, and we're now ending on just a Little Knight, which is a little bit disruptive. That's fine. But essentially, that we needed another 1 card combo to even play the game here. Little Knight is still pretty good. Nadir Servant, Ash Blossom, negate. I don't think so, mate. We could follow up with the barrier. Off of the barrier here, we're going to be searching our deck, but we do have to be careful of the Little Knight chain banishing in response to any activations. We have Saphira, send to the graveyard a ritual spell to grab the Skull Guardian. And we have nothing to tribute to even summon Skull Guardian. If the Little Knight were to banish the Skull Guardian, that possibly would be a big mistake, as that would trigger the ritual spell to summon another Skull Guardian from the deck. Then they have the normal summon low. Let's go. Let's hop into the next turn here as the barrier searches for our Saphira. Saphira, send to the grave to then mill from the deck, grabbing a Skull Guardian. We now Saphira banished to perform that ritual summon. We're going to chain Radiance using the effect to summon a monster onto the field. What is that monster going to be? It's going to be a low. Logan low, setting up a continuous spell into our back row, which will be the Blessing, which will require the opponent to summon a card. But if we chain the Little Knight, banish the low, then you have, again, nothing to ritual summon with. Yeah, I summon, you trigger Blessing, I chain Little Knight, banish, you still don't get your ritual summon. You're pretty much checkmated. So we're not going to even bother. Get popped. Let's activate. I mean, not bother. We didn't have a choice. We couldn't chain the Blessing. And just like that, double 4,200, 4,100, that is, over 8,000 for game. Let's hop into game number 3. Diviner, negate. Call to the grave, finger the ash, negate. The negate. A big example of a massive game, a big company that wanted to introduce big change to their game but couldn't do it to their original game, so they had to wait for the new game, is Path of Exile. The devs wanted to try out, what if we remove all the crazy movement abilities and make the game much more difficult and much more scarce on the rewards? Well, the current player base would absolutely revolt and boycott the game. So they did it through their new game, and then people were like, wow, I actually like this. That's just an example. It's just so difficult, and it applies to something like Duel Links, where if the crafting system does not introduce new players, it would kill the game. It will kill the game in terms of revenue. They probably would have to shut down. But I'm coping. I'm coping. Again, I don't really have much on the line here besides, well, I mean, I do run a Duel Links website. I would like for them to not kill the game. Ideally, they introduce a crafting change. All of you then want to play the game, then the game overall makes more money. What is this field? What do we have here? We have it so our monsters cannot be targeted by card effects. Imperm would be no good, but the Triple Tactics talent does not target. It can non-target yoink a monster. Now, the Pendulum Graph can negate a spell like the Triple Tactics talent, and the Skull Guardian could also negate anything, aka the Triple Tactics talent. We could also Radiance pop up to 2 cards on the field. We have Sarvis will protect us from being targeted when we're already protected. We have about triple disruption here. Let's see how it plays out. Saphira, send from the deck a ritual spell to grab our Skull Guardian. We're really hoping that they do something that we want to now use the Triple Tactics talent on. Thank you for negating with the Skull Guardian. Now, very important. If I take their Skull Guardian, how do I know if I can activate it if the effect is no longer activatable for them? They can't activate it, but can I? So let's read the card. You can only use each of the following effects. You, meaning Animan, can only use this. So it says it's Animan and AS. Now, Animan used the effect, so it should basically show that AS is still able to activate the effect of a Skull Guardian, whether it's their own or the opponent's, thus we can take control of it, and it's fine. It's when it's tied to the card itself. It's usually that would be a soft once per turn, where if it activates, it can't activate again, but another copy would. That's if you take control of that card already activated. But this is tied to the name of the card, not the card itself. Pendulum Graph, negate the ritual spell. And now, we are free to Triple Tactics Talent take control. Come to me, your Skull Guardian. Which as soon as we summon Low, boom. Low turns on Skull Guardian. We now can negate anything. We have the barrier grabbing the blessing. With the blessing, we could return back and engrave our ritual spell. Oh boy. And we are going to get ritual summoning, getting out our double Skull Guardian. There's going to be a window right now where we have no negate. This is the last opportunity in response to the Skull Guardian and Low activating, where we can activate something without being negated. We're going to take that opportunity to use the effect of Radiance to get out a Sarvis on the field. We're getting desperate. Return back. Oh, Saphira, she does nothing, but she can be nice to look at, I guess. Yeah, okay, sure. Now, we're making an Odd Eyes Pendulum Graph Dragon. To battle we go. We cannot activate anything within the battle phase. Say goodbye to that Saphira, leaving up Meteor Burst because it's that inconsequential. We're making a Dynamundo, though. On Special Summon, we could have returned a Ritual Monster back into our deck to then get spinning. We didn't want to do that. We want to reborn the Skull Guardian within the draw phase. This plays into a finger. And the finger's limited to 1 in TCG, so this is normally a really good play to always do in the TCG. Not so good in Master Duel where the finger's at 2, but the Pendulum Graph is protecting us from getting fingered. So this then becomes a good play. This is great. We're going to reborn the Skull Guardian. This is to trigger the Low to give us an extra form of disruption. Negate a spell, negate anything, pop multiple cards. Let's go. Do we pop? We Pendulum Graph, negate the effects. And we can now summon our own Meteor Burst Dragon if we would like. That's exactly what we're doing. Now, both players, their monster effects will not be activatable within the battle phase only. We're at 2 disruption now. Skull Guardian on summon is going to be Chain Link blocking the Low. By negating and destroying the Skull Guardian, something is going to possibly happen. Yup, that's the problem. If your ritual monster leaves the field because of your opponent's card, you then get to summon a ritual from the deck. So we don't have to worry that this gets destroyed as we use up our negate. This is when this duel is getting crazy. I don't know what's going to happen here. Low's going to summon, we're going to summon another Skull Guardian from the deck, and we're going to have our own negate while we already used up our own. We're going to Radiance, pop the Low so that the newly summoned Skull Guardian's not going to have a negate, but the random Sarvis is going to negate the pop mate, as we also shuffle back into the deck with the Radiance to come forth and summon from the deck or grab a Saphira. Saphira is here. Animan is making a big comeback. I cannot believe it. Already used. We're done. We have nothing left. Animan gets to do whatever Animan wants to do. Animan has the upper hand here with the Skull Guardian that is in fact activatable. We are going to Blessing the Low back. We have not even committed to a normal summon yet. We can normal, trigger Blessing, summon the Skull Guardian. Guess what? This Skull Guardian cannot be destroyed by battle. It's not 2050, it's 4100. Oh, but you can only have one of them on the field. We could Suicide Skull Guardian to the other, and we'll keep ours on the field. Let's make sure we keep the correct one on the field, though. Right? Oh, we're just negating. Yeah, nope. There could be more than one Skull Guardian. I don't think so. Negate. Now what? To battle we go. As you see, they're not destroyed by battle. That is absolutely massive. Take out the opposing player's Low, and what are we left with as we go into a Dynamundo? Dynamundo on summon will spin back that Blessing back in the deck. I cannot believe Animan is now set up to win this. We have the Pendulum Graph, adding back the Ritual Spell to return back the Pendulum Graph to our hand here. There's the Maxi late to the duel. Barrier is activating as we use our Radiance to destroy the barrier. We're going to use our own Radiance to summon a body into the field, and the Skull Guardian says, no, you will not do that. I do not think so. Wipe out the Radiance and say goodbye to the barrier. From here, what is our play? Dynamundo is going to jump off the field to summon from Engrave our Odd Eyes Pendulum Graph, but there's a problem here. I can't show it to you for some reason, right? It's like it's blocked by my UI. You see that? Monster was not special summoned correctly. You're maxing an effect that is not summoning onto the field because that Dynamundo is not just special summon, it's add to your hand or special summon, it's going to the hand. But we have a blessing. So it's not that this is a big oopsie whoopsie. It's now, if you summon, we will tribute off the low for the Pendulum Graph being added to the hand. All right, add back as it cannot be summoned. And that's it. Wow. How did Animan win that? I am going to have to be rewatching that duel in my own free time. Damn. Good job to both players. Thank you for a great match. Let's keep on going. Starting this off with Barrier. This deck is also not obtainable in a secret pack. It's all, you have to craft pretty much all of it. It's a very expensive deck. Ogre, get poppin', taking out the Barrier. A Voiceless Diviner's gonna follow up, send from the deck. Nothing is the Imperm negates. 2 plays, 2 hand traps. You're now done. And then think, if it were a 2-card combo for 1 hand trap, you're done, and then they would still have another hand trap. Holy moly. This is now bad. We just have Impermanent Ash, though. Come to us from our deck, our Dark Beckoning Beast, as we grab our Spirit Gates mate. Dark Beckoning, additional summons, the D-Lotus, which we have the Ash Blossom to negate. Of course we negate the Ash Blossom. With Ash, I should say, onto the D-Lotus, which is a huge 1-card play. We're going to discard with the Spirit Gates to reborn the D-Lotus to further make plays into a Lord of Yama. Lord of Yama could still set up a good amount of negates and disruption. We're going to battle phase first before possibly committing to the Shavara. No? Okay. Is popping Imperm to make a Soul of Rage better than a single Imperm? I would think so. You would have Escape of the Unchained to pop a Barrier, and then is Soul of Rage that good? There likely would be a scenario where the Soul of Rage would be able to link off with the Skull Guardian, and what's important to note is that this effect right here, if a Light Ritual leaves the field by an opponent's card effect, this doesn't trigger. The Skull Guardian being linked off with the Soul of Rage, no trigger on this, and then they have the Little Knight to further banish, probably a low would be somewhere, or banish something else. So I don't know if the Imperm was good enough, but we do have Maxi in addition to it. Bro, I had no play. You Maxi nothing. Oh, no, you got me, I mean. Yep, all right, I hope you don't have another Maxi next turn. Off the top of the deck, we have Spirit of Yubel, which we can discard and reborn since we have another card that's summonable from Engrave. We're now going to Ash Blossom negate. I don't think so, mate. Let's see what is good from here. Let's speed this up. We just have Imperm to try to stop these plays. Spirit Gates, add a Spirit Gates, activate Spirit Gates to grab the Dark Beckoning Beast, pop the Spirit of Yubel to summon the Shavara, trigger Spirit of Yubel to summon a Yubel, normal the Dark Beckoning Beast to make a Nightmare Phoenix with nothing to discard to get poppin', making a Phantom of Yubel for 5,900 damage. What the hell? Bro, what's going on? We can't make a Soul of Rage? What's going on? Soul of Rage. Why we ain't raging? Main phase, Unchained Soul, the Nightmare Phoenix or something. We don't, Yama Shavara. Am I missing something? Were we under Max C? What, is there a reason? I can't figure out why we're not Soul of Raging. Okay, let's go. Oh, got him. You've been got. We're not summoning because we don't need it. Let's hop into game number 2. Let's talk about this. We will negate a special summon. Also, this cannot be destroyed by battle. The Radiance is going to be able to pop a card in the field. Now, normally, A fusion monster can never be negated by Sarvis because you're supposed to summon it with the polymerization, right? Well, Konami threw that out the window, as you can now inherently summon a card like Phantom of Yubel, which can and will be negated by the Sarvis and also get banished. So that's great. Curse me, DK. I'm sorry. Testina's coming. We're going to summon a D-Lotus. Radiance is going to pop it, as that was enough to win it. 1-1. Quick game number 2. Nightmare Throne, searching for that Dark Beckoning Beast. Dark Beckoning grabbing our opening of the Spirit Gates. We're trying to bait that negate. And this is where I'm wondering, do we set Imperm, pop Imperm, Shavara and Yama make a Soul of Rage? I feel like it's worth it, but previously we did not do that. We're just gonna have Imperm and pass. Sure, it's fine. Imperm off the top of the deck. I guess that Imperm would now negate the Soul of Rage. We would then escape, pop the Soul of Rage, pop a card, Reborn Soul of Rage to dodge the Impermanence. We're going to send Saphira to search for a Sarvis here, as we then follow up with a pre-preparation rites, giving us a ritual spell plus our Skull Guardian, ready to negate the Impermanence. As we now, Saphira, banish to ritual summon with the low to come forth and make the Skull Guardian. The Soul of Rage does target, so the Skull Sarvis would protect also from the Soul of Rage and the Impermanence. As the low is now triggering to Reborn, the Skull Guardian is now activating to search. We're going to use a Ghost Ogre. Now, we need the ritual spell in Graveyard for this to be good, which we do. All right, we're going to destroy the Skull Guardian. Skull Guardian will be replaced with another Skull Guardian. Barely an inconvenience here as we get resummoning. Even a card like Super Poly is known for breaking fields, and the Voiceless Voice deck is all about having a field. Super Poly is no good because of the ritual spell, summoning another Skull Guardian, and then reborning the low through her own effect. We are using Sarvis to negate that Impermanence. Public knowledge, we knew that that was searched for, but we may as well use it on something. Negate as we set up the barrier of the Voiceless Mate. Come forth a newly summoned Skull Guardian. Why is Voiceless good? Just look, it's good. It looks good. It's doing good stuff. Send a Trias from the deck. Tribute Diviner to come forth and summon that Trias. Trigger the Diviner to summon for the deck another low. Not triggering the Blessing, but add back from the grave with Blessing the Skull Guardian to now turn this into a Chaos Angel. Chaos Angel on summon, banishing the Yama, triggering the Blessing to ritual summon our Skull Guardian. We're now going to be attempting to get a Shavara onto the field. Skull Guardian's going to say, no, you are negated. Man, this deck just looks better than Yubel. I don't know what to say. Voiceless is popping off. I guess the nerfs really caught up to Snake Eye and Yubel to the point where was Voiceless being suppressed by Tenpai Dragon? Maybe that's the case. Get swinging. Over 11,000 damage, 2-1 victory. Voiceless advancing to the top 4. Or I believe there's 2 Voiceless in the top 4. There could have been 3, but Voiceless had to play Voiceless in the top 8. Start this off with a Fateful Adventure. Come to us, Water Enchantress. I've been saying that Spright with Adventure is going to be good against Fualos. Not Pirellia, but most people will not be playing Pirellia. And it's going to be due to being able to summon your bodies from the hand, your Sprites or your Griffin, and not be affected by the Fualos whatsoever. Ghost Bell negate the Call to the Grave. It's crazy to think that Ghost Spell becomes better with the release of Fualos, but then you also have to make room for Fualos. So how are you going to also make room for Ghost Spell to protect your Fualos? It's going to be a wild meta when the Fualos cards come out. I have no idea what that card is. I've never seen that in my entire life. What the heck is this? Did you misclick this in your deck? This turn, neither player could special summon monsters with the same card types, Ritual, Fusion, Synchro, Caesar, Link, that they already control. What? If you do not control 2 or more of the same card type, all Ritual, Fusion, Synchro, Season, Link monsters you currently control gain 500 attack? What the heck is that? Okay. Huh? we thrusting. This is better than Dimensional Barrier, though. Why that over Dimensional Barrier? That's Spice from Triff? Well, what the hell? Okay. Simul Archfiends. Couplet is triggering. This is Snake Eye Melodious. Chain that Maxi. What can we now do under the Maxi? Do we take the Maxi challenge and try to go for game under Nibiru plus the Simul Archfiends that we already saw that was on the field? We're still going in. We do not care. Botcha is now here, ready to summon from the deck. Full Loss would draw for the Botcha summon and summon from the deck. A draw to play as we're all getting ready for the Mulcharmies. Couplet and Reframe are resetting themselves back up as Pendulum Scales, ready to Pendulum Summon if we would like to. As we now get the Botcha in grave to trigger the Botcha to Reborn from the grave. This is where the Full Loss would not draw. It's not going to be from the grave. Little Knight on summon, say goodbye to the Fateful Adventure. We're in the Nibiru zone. As we return back the Concerto randomly drawing into a brick. We have Wanted Seeker grabbing Diablo Star, which could send the Flameburst to the graveyard if we'd like. We're going to instead send a Jet Sync run. And with that, we have Diablo Star triggering to set up into the back row our original Sinful. We're going to now activate the Simul Archfiends. Neither player could special summon monsters with the same card types they already control. So if you control a Link, you can't summon a Link. So you can't use the Link to summon another Link. So Masquerena can't go into a Promethean Princess, right? And then end the turn. But then it now comes back. That's fine. That was great. We got rid of the Little Knight to make room for the Masquerena. As we now make a Herald of Arc Light. Sure. Stopped an Apollo. Well, you can't really make an Apollo with this. It's got to be different names, right? Yeah, different names. You'd make a 2-negate Apollo. Probably better to maybe have the Masquerena and just use the Masquerena during their turn. We're going to Forbidden Droplet. Send to the grave to negate the Little Knight. And we're sending 2 cards to the grave. Goodbye to the Foolish and the Draco back to negate the Masquerena and Little Knight. As we are banishing our Angler, are we making a oopsie whoopsie or what? Because the Herald of Arclight states that any monster from either player sent from the hand or main deck to the graveyard is banished instead. And the Angler does not want to be banished. If sent to the graveyard, not when banished, you then get to summon 2 Anglers from the deck. Oopsie, 2 Nimbles that is. So we kind of countered ourselves accidentally as we now make a Nightmare Phoenix. As we're now going to turn this into a gigantic Spright. With this gigantic Spright, we're going to summon a blue from the deck. Blue, activate, grab the Jet, special the Jet searching for the starter. Turn this into a Mannequin Cat, reborn from the opponent's graveyard, the Max C. Now target any monster you want, then summon a monster from our deck with the same type or attribute, which is going to be a Hero Kid into another Hero Kid to turn them into a Spright Elf. With this, Elf is going to be reborning the Hero Kid again to summon the 3rd Hero Kid from the deck. Ain't no way. As we now turn this into Mosquito. And just like that, what's the Mosquito damage? 1,600 times 32, 64. 6,400 plus 2,700 damage. That is in fact game. Yup, even more. So continually burn for 16, 16, 16, 16 plus the other battle damage that comes with that. Lethal damage. And again, I'm going to repeat myself. I believe I said this in the top 16 video, but now I'll say it again for this. Mosquito is a core card of Spright to push through the Max Seed challenge. If you get Max Seed, you go for Mosquito to still win very easily. Mosquito plus a bunch of other cards. You're going to be reflecting the damage onto whatever you put the Mosquito counter onto. And it's important to note that the card you put the Mosquito counter onto, you don't have to attack into it. It's not like Yubel where you have to swing into it, attack their other monsters, then burn every time on the other attacks per the attack of the monster you have the counter on. Nicely done. Let's hop into game number 2. Begin. No hand traps whatsoever, but instead of hand traps, we have 2 board breakers. And you could argue, I would say board breakers are a higher risk, but can be a higher reward. And they are also more consistent because you'll have a 6-card hand instead of 5 cards. What do we keep seeing throughout the tournament today? We see people drawing Maxi for their 6th card. If your 6th card is a drawn droplet or a triple tactics talent, that's perfectly fine. The only problem with the board breaker is an Ash can stop a full field from being built if used at the perfect moment and they don't have good follow-up. A board breaker, after a fully built field has been built, may not be able to deal with the entire field as the Ash would have been able to. But, you know, it's still, again, it's high risk, high reward. Maybe it can, maybe it can't. We're going to find out with this field how big it is, if the triple tactics talent and droplet will be good enough. And the triple tactics talent does require you to throw out some bait. They have to activate something in the main phase for you to even use that triple tactics talent. We have the Apollo USA, Original Sinful, send the Snake Eye Diablo to summon the Jet Synchron, Pendulum Summon, 2 more of our refrains as we now make the Promethean Reborn, the Oak Reborn, the Poplars. We discard to summon the Jet Synchron. We're going to summon a Flame Burst from the deck to the effect of the Oak. We're going to be equipping the Snake Eye Diablo Star, pushing the Masquerena into the back row through the effect of the Flame Burst, now making a Hida, as we now turn our Birch into a Linkuriboh to now make a Silhouette Rabbit. Ain't no way. We barely have enough room to now set this up. What are our disruptions? This is why I say it's good to diversify your disruptions. They have 2 cards that deal with the field. Well, the Field of Monsters. With the Azure Rune in the back row, it's protected from the Tactics talent and the Droplet. With the Promethean Engrave, it is also protected. Also, the Masquerena in the back row is mostly protected from the Droplet and Triple Tactics talent, depending on when we decide to summon it. The Masquerena summonable with the Flame Burst or the Field Spell will turn into a double disruption. As the Azure Rune, it's going to be a double banish at Little Knight. The Azure Rune is going to be a summon negate. So this would be good for negating the summon of a gigantic Spright or a Spright Elf, probably. And then we have 3 more monster negates with the Apollo USA. And then we have Promethean Princess in the graveyard. About 7 disruption plus the Max C. Let's go. Summon the Nimble Beaver, Apollo negate. Do we droplet? No, we're not using droplet onto the Apollo. We are waiting. Now down to 6 disruption, we have triple tactics talent to draw 2, not even take control of you. As we follow up with the cross out designate, negate the Max C. What are we drawing into? We need some we need some sprites. Give me Sprite Starter or any sprites. That's a sprite, that's what I'm talking about. And what did I say? Negate a Spright Elf with the Azure Rune. Uh-oh, there's a big play. Negate. Forbidden Droplet, chaining to the negate. Ain't no way, mate. We're going to send the Angler. Does Angler trigger from the hand here, right? If sent to the graveyard? If this card's sent from the hand or deck to the graveyard? Yes, it is. So we negate the Apollo, and we are now left with Promethean Princess plus a double banish with Masquerena into Little Knight, which is still too much to deal with. Wait, what's going on? What part was confusing, you think? So the Elf was technically not on the field. The Azure Rune was activating to negate it. And within the negation window, we could still activate another card. Droplet, get send in, get negate in. Let's hop into game number 3. Begin. Start this off with the Terror Top to try to bait out some negates. You generally want to look at your hand and go, all right, I got the play. Let's do everything but that play now to bait out the hand traps. I do want to interrupt the super speedy gameplay to say, sometimes people will say, what's the choke point? What's the best negate? And you could say, oh, it's definitely negate the gigantic Spright. So you are going to be with a linear mindset thinking, okay, I'm saving my negate for that card because that's what I learned. And then they know that you're doing that. They then set up a disruption like the Griffin to protect their main way that you should negate them, thus turning into a situation where you now made a misplay by saving your negate for the better negate that you can't negate because they protected it with a negate of their own. Thus, you have to change it up. This is the situation with Super Heavy Samurai, where, of course, you want to negate the effect of summon from the deck by sending their monster, because they're going to summon the scales that reborns in the grave, but generally, they're going to set up a negate for that negate, so you do have to sometimes, meaningfully on purpose, use a hand trap on a lesser powerful card, just so that you get to reduce the power of their turn 1 field. All right, let's now make the Melfi of the Forest search our deck for our Caddy as we now end our turn. Caddy's going to be triggering during the end phase, come forth and summon. This is a super meaty field. Griffin will negate anything. Caddy will turn into another negate. The Melfi at the right moment will negate a card in the field. The Masquerade will go into a Little Knight double banish. The Elf is, I don't think, going to be turning into a disruption here. It is not. We do have the Spright starter, which can turn into a monster negate or a spell and trap card negate. And then we have the double cross, which can essentially steal a monster. 7 disruption. 5-card hand. Does not seem fair. Let's go. Discard the, whoa. We did not Asanada, which is only activatable if you control no monsters, because we are confident that they are going to make a play that makes it so we do not have monsters on the field, right? Or is this a big mistake? Caddy, Chain Ash Blossom to negate the Caddy. And then Caddy gets negated. We're now down to 6 disruption only. Oh no, anyway, we're just going to leave the Caddy negated, not try to protect it with the Griffin. We have better plays to make as we now turn this into a Little Knight. What do we do if they banish Original Sinful and leave up Diablo Star? We can't suicide Diablo Star into anything. We can't use Asanado. Jet Synchron, discard. Oh, okay, but now Jet Synchron's blocking Asanado. We have to summon Jet Synchron and attack? And then swing, and then Asanado? What? I mean, this is hopeless anyway, to be fair. This is hopeless. Summon a carrot, turn this into a Link Kuribo, battle, kill ourselves, as I said, and then carrot negate or Griffin negate. Yeah, we tried. We tried our hardest. And we also lost double disruption, not off of the Caddy. The Caddy being negated wasn't just one disruption. It also stopped the Melfi of the Forest being able to negate. But still, way too many disruptions. A lot more where that came from. Thus, Bull is surrendering to Chris. Spright Adventure is advancing. Let's start this duel off with pre-preparation of rites. A double search, ritual spell plus ritual monster. Easy +1. It's going to be a Sarvis, negate an inherent special summon, which are the Sprites. If you want to special summon Spright Red, you can negate that. The Sarvis, instead negating something like a Sprint, an Elf, or a Gigantic Sprite might be better, but the red could possibly pin down the Sarvis from negating something else. You would maybe want to just negate it while you can. Now, the Draco back ideally is going to be spinning back a card like Sarvis or Skull Guardian, but we cannot target it thanks to the barrier. So let's talk about the disruptions in total. Sarvis negate a summon, Skull Guardian negate anything, Ash negate an interaction with the deck, and there's another negate here. Sarvis is going to be returning back to the hand to then be resummoned, to then negate again, and then, how's there a 5th disruption hiding? The low. So when we negate with Sarvis, they then summon, we trigger Blessing, tribute the low, to summon Sarvis again, to negate another summon, we then trigger the low to resummon from the grave, then set up a Radiance to pop multiple cards in the field. 5 disruptions. Let's go. Fateful Adventure. Into the Water Enchantress. Sure, we're holding our negates. Water Enchantress banished to grab the Rite of Air's Mirror. Ash, negate. Now down to 4 disruption. Sure. And we can't attack into the low because the barrier is protecting. Sarvis negating the Spright Red, as I said it potentially would do. Triggering the Sarvis to summon again through the Blessing. Blessing's getting triggered, that is. We're using Skull Guardian to negate the Maxi. We have 2 disruptions left. Let's get to it. Come forth, summon our Sarvis. To negate a summon again, low, reborn from the graveyard, set up the Radiance. Exactly what I said was going to happen, and we popped 2. We're now down to the single Sarvis negate, and we didn't even have to use it. Damn. Voiceless looks so cool right now. It's crazy. They reduced the power and consistency of Snake Eye. They did it with Yubel, but then Tenpai came out, and then I think Tenpai was keeping Voiceless at bay for a bit, and now with Tenpai dropping in power, you have the untouched Voiceless clapping it up in today's event. Top of the game too. Terror top, searching for the Take Tomborg, special summon Take Tomborg as we now make Cherubini to get the Water Enchanters from the deck into the grave. Let's get ready for a big Nibiru. We're gonna send from the deck the Nimble Angler. And are we not, no Nibiru yet? Sure. Gigantic Spright, this is when we have to do it. Called by the, yeah, there is called by. You are totally right. What's gonna happen? Well, we're gonna Ogre first. We have to called by this. Oh, what? What the? Oh my gosh, you can't finger a Nibiru? No way. Holy moly. Jackpot, Nibiru the field. Wipe it, oh my craziness. Holy moly. To be fair, Nibiru's usage is quite low. No one expects that Nibiru. And when you're expecting it, Nibiru becomes worse, and then you stop playing Nibiru, then Nibiru comes better. It is a circle of Nibiru continually being super broken and super bad. Insane. Pre-prep searching for the ritual spell plus a Sarvis as we now activate the prayers, tribute off our second copy of Nibiru. I had another one, by the way, to make our Skull Guardian to search for our much-needed low. Low, come to me with our low. We're going to be setting up a continuous spell. With the barrier, we're now going to be searching for a blessing to continually have a good recursion of our cards in grave and or banished back to our hand. We can also trigger the effective blessing to summon a Sarvis. As we blessing, add back the ritual spell first. Did we low reborn from the grave? We have not yet. We're going to be summoning that Sarvis. And what did we accomplish here? Very similar to the previous game. This will negate anything. The Sarvis will negate a summon. It will then be resummoned to negate another summon. Low will then set up the Radiance, which will pop cards on the field. This is 4 disruption plus a maxi. What's good? And, you know, you look at this field. And I would think, man, I wish I had Super Poly to fuse them up because the Low and the Guardian have to be on the field at the same time to turn on other effects, to turn on the negate. But with the ritual spell, it will summon another Skull Guardian from the deck, then trigger Low in the grave to reborn. But there's a window where we could finger that Low. It's actually going to be turning off one of the disruptions here, as the Skull Guardian will not be able to negate that finger. Will we even get that far? No, we won't. We have a Sunfish. Bro, you got me. You Nibiru'd me. Good Nibiru. I didn't expect it. Well played. Great from both players. Thank you to both. Good job. Let's keep on going. Saphira starting off this duel, searching for nothing. Just like that. Huge negate, ending our turn completely. Got double imperm and the Ashes. Both are activatable. Both are great. Can we play through triple disruption? I believe this is generally a huge bait to negate the inheritance. A good simple negate, a good effective one is Laura summoning from the deck. We're going to imperm, negate the Rapengu. No send from the deck for you. 2 more disruptions. Otherwise, if you want to go risky with your Ash, and some Ritual Beast players will play around this, so do not blame me if it does not work. There you go. Good use of Ash, negating the Tamer Laura. What I was trying to say before being rudely interrupted by that Ash negating Laura is that you could try to save the Ash for the Banshee or the Nemesis flag. But a lot of Ritual Beast players, if they're good enough, they're setting up an ulti Gaia to protect that play from being negated. Negate the Rapengu. So is it correct that someone tells you it's better to negate a Banshee or Nemesis flag? Yeah, but they're also wrong, because if you continually save your negate for that high roll play, they will continually possibly have a way to stop that play, and then you lose anyway. Wow, trash. See, Voiceless looks so good or so bad. This looks so bad. Ash negating the Rapangu. We are in a simplified game state, so this is definitely understandable. We're desperate, so we got to go for the high risk, high reward, and we are rewarded. If Ash ends the turn, you did a good job. Now, we have Blessing. This is going to recycle back our Saphira. That works out. That is great. Saphira is going to send to the graveyard our ritual spell plus searching for our Skull Guardian and then summon it by tributing over the Trias. Now, the Skull Guardian will be negated from searching for a low. We very much need the low. Without the low, Skull Guardian is no good. 1850 due to the inheritance reducing its attack. And just like that, we can't really do anything. Now, the ritual spell states that if a ritual monster leaves the field by an opponent's card effect, not by battle, only then will you get to summon a ritual from your deck. Summon Droll into Relinquish Anima? What the heck are we doing? We're making a Protoss. Protoss Call Light, locking them out of special summoning like monsters. Now, if we can continually call light, that would be great. Where do we get another light monster from? Again, a dead card. We're going to Blessing, recycle back the Skull Guardian. Another light monster could be a Nochi. To summon the Nochi, we need a Tamer plus a Spiritual Beast, and it has to be on the field or in graveyard. The hand will not count. We only have one in grave. We have a Spiritual Beast. We need a Tamer. If we cannot get a Tamer, then we're giving them the opportunity to summon a light monster next turn, and then we may lose it all. We have to top deck any Ritual Beast because the Inheritance will search for another. Perfect. Great. We can try to just win the duel here now because that was a great top deck. We don't have to rely on the Protoss. And let's do this. Let's speed this up. Summon the Nochi, banishing the Laura, 6,300, wham bam, thank you ma'am. Lethal damage. I think Protoss is needed to win this matchup. It's not optional. You are going to lose if you do not use and abuse Protoss. Saphira, send from the deck a rich spell to grab our Skull Guardian. Saphira is now activating to perform that ritual summon. Say goodbye to our Maximus as we make our Skull Guardian to search for our low. Low is here, setting up a continuous spell into our back row as we ritual summon over low to summon a Sarvis, triggering the low to reborn from the graveyard as the barrier now searches for our Radiance. Off of this, what did we accomplish? We can negate anything, negate an inherent summon. This is devastating to Ritual Beast. Being able to negate the summon of a Canahawk, that hurts badly. It's a costly summon to then be fully negated. Ain't no way. The main benefit of the Canahawk is how, jumpy it is. It's so hard to get a hold of it and negate it. It's going to search and then jump off the field if you try to do anything, but the Sarvis is going to choke it up and kill it right away and banish it. Now, the Radiance will also pop multiple cards in the field, up to 2 here. We have 1, 2, 3 disruptions. Good luck. Ritual Beast Inheritance will be revealing the Elder to search our deck. I would generally not negate this unless we're in a simplified game state. We have Elder to perform the additional summon, and this is a good time to wipe up the field. Woo, boy. That was an easy clap. Ain't no way. We have the Shield Bearer searching for, essentially it's a 4th copy of Rapangu. Imperm on this, I approve of that. That is good. Imperm on 1 card Rapangu, 1 card Canahawk. You should do it. Yes. And should you Ash an Ulti-Hawk? I would say no. You could Ash the effect of the Tamer Laura, and if you got big balls, you could save it for a Banshee flag play instead if you want. But again, they could set up the Ulti Gaia to negate your negate, so you are taking a big gamble on that. What is this? The Ulti Ray will be able to banish any card on the field. The Baguska is going to force any non-link monster in a defense, and it will be negated. So we got the Floodgate, plus a Banish, plus an Ash interaction with the deck, plus the Droll if you add a card from your deck, and a Maxi on top of it. So 3 Disruption, 1 Floodgates, and a Maxi. So it's like a 3 and 2-ish kind of thing. But we got 2 fingers. Let's go. Normal Veiler into defense you go, making a Relinquish Anima to force out the Ulti Ray. A great way to deal with Ulti Ray. That was good. Perfectly done. Set the 2 finger, then pass. We're going to preemptively finger. Now, by preemptively fingering the Canahawk, I guess we were afraid of the Nochi happening. Okay, but that can't happen there. Sure. Preempt that finger. Be gone. And the Baguska. Now we're going to finger again. Get rid of the Canahawk. A fear could be that they're going to summon Nochi from the extra deck. And that is the Nochi. But, I mean, they have so many cards in the graveyard. How are you even stopping it? It's just too much. Boost the field. 2-1 victory. But I thought you said you need Protoss to win. I mean, if they make plays, they did not make any plays, though. There was nothing. They got stopped by the hand traps. If there were actual plays being made, once they establish something, Protoss is pretty much necessary to win this duel. Or they could brick. So there you go. Brick or Protoss. Good job to Ritual Beast advancing to the grand finale. Let's begin the grand finale. Let's go. Protoss calling light, and you saw that did not get destroyed because of the Tamer Laura. Tamer Laura protecting the ulti Gaia. We can negate anything. We can destroy. How many cards? 1, 2, 3, 4, up to 4 monsters on the field we could destroy. The ulti Ray could banish anything on the field. Monster, back row, face up, face down, it does not matter. So that's triple disruption through those cards. And if it's not another Ritual Beast in the hand, then it's probably a hand trap, because per Ritual Beast, it could negate that many times. So we have 4 disruption. Negate an interaction with the deck, negate with the ulti Gaia, banish a card in the field, pop multiple cards in the field, and then the Floodgate, which locks you out completely from special summoning like monsters, thanks to Protoss. We got first turn killed, straight up. What can we do? Well, we can max see them, which, well, they had Ash for that also. Super checkmate. We're going to be grabbing the Skull Guardian, pre-prep, search our deck for the ritual spell. This is sad. This is super sad. Diviner is trying its hardest here. We're going to pop it before the Trias is sent to the graveyard so that the Diviner cannot trigger off of being tributed. Trigger to summon what, though? I can't summon light. It's not even possible. We did get to deal with the ulti Gaia. There was no Tamer Laura in graveyard. We didn't want to banish the Laura in hand to protect it. Now, there you go. There's the Maxi, but I had the Ash since the previous turn. It's been done for a while, my friend. I'm sorry. It's now time to finish you. Let's now end this duel. 26, 42, 83. Didn't even have to summon a single additional monster. Lethal damage with just the on-field monsters. Let's take this into game 2. Saphira sent to the grave to search our deck for nothing. Ash Blossom, negate. Well, now we're going to have to follow up with the Barrier. Barrier searching our deck for our Skull Guardian, as the Saphira in grave could still be used to ritual summon even though it was negated by the Ash. To come forth and make that Skull Guardian to very much needed search our low. The low is going to be setting up a continuous spell or trap. That's going to be the Radiance. Let's talk about our disruptions here. We have a protected Max C. That is big. Having a negate plus Max C. Now, I guess we'd have to negate the Drone Lockbird with the Skull Guardian possibly. We also have the Ash plus, as we were saying, the Skull Guardian negate. Radiance will be able to pop a card on the field. This is about triple disruption plus Max C. Is it good enough? I think it's good enough. It's great. This should be it. We have the Shield Bearer searching for a Rapangu. Normal summon Rapangu. We're going to Ash negate Rapangu. I think that is really greedy. Super greedy Ash. I would generally save the Ash for the lore effect of summoning from the deck. As we now make a Canahawk, we're going to activate that Max C and maybe protect that Max C by negating the Droll. Are we going to bait out... Oh, is this it? Do we negate? Yes, we do, mate. We want to draw per special summon no matter what. And now we're left with just the Radiance being able to pop one card in the field. But how good is popping if they have a Laura in grave? Laura states that if your Ritual Beast card, even your non-Ritual Beast monsters, would be destroyed, you could banish this card instead. So we could use the other effect. Shuffle a ritual monster or ritual spell. Do we have that? We don't. We don't have the better effect to summon a Sarvis to negate the summon of an Ulti Hawk or a big Link summon. So our final disruption is bad. And we're gonna kill our window to cheat. A 1 monster Link 4. Super efficient. Oh, I didn't even see that finger. It's really out there. Now with the main phase 2, we can add back a banished monster to then perform an additional summon. Additionally summoning, and it's, remember, we cannot be destroyed if it's a Ritual Beast card. We're going to be summoning a Little Knight, which we cannot target the Skull Guardian nor the Low. Main phase 2, special summoning under Max C. This is a bit sus, but if it leads to a Protoss, it's worth it. Oh, yeah, buddy, there we go. This is a Protoss. What can we do? We already Ashed, we already Skull Guardian, the Radiance is gone. No way. Maxi challenge into a main phase 2 Protoss. If this wins the duel, then that is disgusting. We're gonna summon the Protoss, call light. Oh no. Next turn, we could literally normal summon Laura and call light if they don't put a light monster on the field themselves. So we do have the ability to loop its effect until we have lethal damage. This is devastating. Back-to-back Protoss. We cannot special summon light. It does not matter what happens to Protoss. We can destroy it, we can negate it. The lingering effect of light monsters not being special summonable is forever in play. Cannot be stopped. Skull Guardian useless, Sarvis useless, it's all useless. Now, Diviner, send from the extra deck and Entis, can't pop the Protoss. If we had a way to deal with Protoss, then it would not be able to activate again next turn, right? Diviner, send Entis. What are we popping, mate? Take out the Banshee. Banshee was doing nothing. Also, the Nemesis Flag was doing nothing, but it does reduce the damage they have on field. Ooh, wow, Typhon. That is something. The problem is it returns it back to the hand, not back in the deck, and it will just very simply be resummoned. All right. We are now within the main phase, hard summoning it right here, right now, right away. Now, in response to the summon, we could try to do something with the Radiance of the Voiceless Voice. And we also could, we're going to Ash Blossom negate the Spiritual Beast Tamer Laura from summoning from the deck. What is going on here? There's no light monster on field, so it's not an issue that we have to quickly respond to. Now, that you summoned a light monster, before the Protoss activates to destroy light monsters, we're going to start making plays with Blessing. Blessing, triggered off low, summon a Sarvis. Okay. This is still no good. Oh my goodness. Radiance, pop this. We can't pop it. It can't be destroyed by card effect. What the hell is going on? We're going to Nochi, jump off the field, and it doesn't have to destroy a light to stop lights. So even if we didn't have the Sarvis, this would still work. Goodbye to Sarvis, and again, we are locked out of special summoning light monsters with an indestructible Protoss. Hawk is going to be jumping off and searching. Let's speed this up. Now, our own light monsters also cannot be summoned, so the new Tamer Laura is not summonable, nor is a Nochi, which we already summoned. Ulti Gaia is not summonable, but it really isn't that big of a deal. As we banish from the grave to summon Laura to reborn from the grave, the Apelio boost up the field to then further make an Ulti Ray. Ulti Ray's banishment effect does not work on your own turn. So don't worry about banish their monster, then go for game. But again, we have to say, you cannot special summon light monsters for another turn. Summon the Tamer Laura. Now, the Tamer Laura's effect of protecting your Ritual Beast cards from being destroyed works while on field. If we didn't have one in the graveyard, but we do have one in the graveyard, we have protection from destruction, we have banish anything with the Ulti Ray, and light monsters cannot be specialed. What do? We're going to preemptively banish the Blessing, which I should say it's now gone for good. If it's in the grave, you could return it back with Sarvis. If it's banished, goodbye. That's a big deal. So if you're playing against Voiceless and you have a way to banish their not barrier, but their Blessing, do make sure you do that, because they just play one. Generally, they should only play one. We have Radiance, searching, ending our turn because they're not allowed to surrender. That's why. Yeah, sorry. Goodbye to Diviner as we return back to Hawk. Additional summon. And wham bam. Thank you, ma'am. Wow. Back-to-back Protoss. And the Protoss was summoned under the Maxi challenge, going second. That is how powerful Protoss is. Protoss winning the entire match of Game 1 and Game 2. with a little bit of Ritual Beast on the side. Good job, Bun. Now, should we hate on Bun and Bun, you suck, what the heck, you floodgate loser? No, this is what you should be doing. If it works, if it's good, then you should use it and abuse it. That is the only way for Konami to actually address these problems, not if we just ignore it and pretend like it doesn't exist. If this actually is that broken within the new meta, please do continually win tournaments, clap up the ladder. We need to shine light on this. So good job, Bun. Even with Protoss, Ritual Beast is still an incredibly difficult deck. And Protoss, I would say, even makes the deck more difficult to play because you have to carefully make sure you have the right attributes on the field or in the graveyard. New ban list implemented on the tournament. This is it, 157 players. Tenpai is going down. Are you ready? Let's see. Voiceless Voice is possibly the new best deck. I would not say that early. It's a deck you definitely want to keep your eye out for. It's going to take more community tournaments that are hopefully playing post-ban list early and not playing with the old one. Why not just switch on over so we could more quickly get more data of the brand new ban list, which is not looking too good for Tenpai at the moment. I still think Tenpai is a great deck, and it's going to be even better once the Mulcharmies come out, which you all are not supposed to know about, but you do. Let's check out Branded. Abood, 60 card, holy Abood. Look at this madness. Abood is back, main decking triple, Ultimate Slayer. Are you out of your mind? Ultimate Slayer with our extra deck there. Good job. Let's see what else we have. Armed Dragon, Heartbreaker, top tier Heartbreaker. Very nice. Dragon Rulers, he is looking forward to the new Light and Dark Dragon Rulers, definitely. And then we have Centurion, Plu, 40 card Centurion, Bestial Centurion with a Ringo Worm, just tacked in. All right. I'm pretty sure this is not standard in Centurion. Is it? Yeah, I don't think so. You're like the, wait, a lot of people are using it actually. My bad. Okay, sure. Is that kind of a newish thing that they've been doing recently? Ringo Worm it up. It's actually not that special. Just 20% are using it. Sure. Now, we have Tenpai Dragon, the lone Tenpai, 1 Chundra, 1 Sangan Summoning. Well, we just put in more hand traps. That was the answer. And it was good enough to get in the top 16, but then we unfortunately got knocked out from there. All right, sure. And we now have Salaman Great, which was actually great when we saw it. So good job, Zeus. We had the spell card Monster Reborn, which was actually good. It's a deity crow, but it also is an extender. It can extend by reborning one of your own monsters from your graveyard. I definitely do want to test this out. It's an expensive test, though. It is an ultra rare. We have Snake Eye Fire King. Paris to Snake Eye Fire King, looking super standard. And there is the extra deck. Got Deity Crow in the main deck, probably just for that single Chundra that you can now only play one of. We now have Yubel, Kashtira Yubel, LLDO Avalon. Good job. Any name I forgot to mention, it's really late. It's midnight, past at the end of the stream. I'm out of my mind. So looking good. Good job on Yubel. And then we have Pure Snake Eye Bull. And by Pure Snake Eye, it is Snake Eye with Melodious. I said that I believe that they were going to play 3 ostinato, 3 refrain, 1 couplet, and 1 concerto. I was correct on that. 45 cards to fit in all the hand traps and the new engine. Also having the Azure Rune in. Very nice. What else we have? Chimera. Packed with a 40-card clean deck. Diabels is here. Good job. Very well done. Evolzar Lars not playing Beatrice. Also not playing the Dark Statue that locks people out of special summoning. What else we have? We have Spright. Chris with a 60-card Spright deck. We got the Hero Kid clapping it up. Main decking the Simmel Archfiends, which will be played with the Thrust. Very good job on that, Chris. And then here is the extra deck. Okay. Now we have Ritual Beast. First place Buns with the Ritual Beast. Protoss is too good. Got that 1 shifter still. Semi-limited emergency teleport, which I think should be unlimited, but maybe not because Ritual Beast is so good. We have that 1 skill drain Ain't no way. Good job, Buns, on that first place. Happy to see it. Big fan of Ritual Beast, and you played it amazingly well. And then we have Snake Eye Rescue Ace. Basala, 60 cards. Here's part of the deck, and here is the other half. It's a big deck, chunky deck. Holy moly, it's just everything in this deck. This is also a Tenpai. This, out of all the decks, I think is the deck I want to copy today. Yeah, I think so. I'll be playing something like this. Tenpai, Rescue Ace, Snake Eye. And then we have the extra deck here. Only one Bident, one Transcendent, and one Trident Dragon. Trident, Bident, and Transcendent. Virgil. I'm also playing something wild. Karakuri, Gamma that is. And also playing with Rescue Ace. What are you mad lads doing? Out of your mind, and I love it. Good job. We got the Aurora Dawn Wombo combos, sure. And then the most played deck, Voiceless. Second place with Voiceless, Timeless. 41 cards with Nadir Servant. That could be quite difficult to squeeze into your deck, and you did it. You even had room for the Ghost Ogre. What you didn't have room for, as a lot of you could see, standard cards that most people play, no Call by the Grave, no Cross Out Designate. Instead, we got Nibiru's, you got more non-engine that will actually disrupt the opponent. And then Anna Man, we did have room for the Call by the Grave here. Good work on that. And then we have a Sanjuan, all of them on Nadir Servant, it looks like. Yeah, we have Summon Limit. There can be only one. Got some Floodgate action going on in here. And that is the tournament. Voiceless Voice doing immensely well. Did not win it. Lost to Ritual Beast. Let's check out the tier list. Tenpai will soon be dropping. I think as more community tournaments are coming in, that is, we'll see Tenpai fall. It should probably solidify its spot at tier 2, maybe even high tier 2. I don't think Tenpai's done. Tenpai, people are going to be underestimating it for now, and that's going to be a mistake. It is still a great deck. And thank you all for watching. I'll see you in the next video. We are out.